Welcome back to episode 2 of Cyberspaces with Cyberlete. My name is Brian, and I'll be co-hosting the space. Today's topic, we're going to go into the current state of gaming. We have Jeff and Stolte here to give us their thoughts. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Good
Good morning.
morning.
So tell us, guys, what is the current state of gaming right now?
I know you're passionate about this subject, Jeff. I'll let you start off with it.
Okay. So right now in the world of it, gaming is, obviously ran by cheaters, but there's obviously big things in the gaming industry that are ran that the industry and esports in general, not gaming industry, the esports in general, the scene is kind of ran on sponsor money. And as the world starts to pull back into a recession, it's a very serious topic to actually tap into, because that means a lot of like the competitive tournaments potentially have a lot of their sponsored money, their sponsored events. Some of their money is going to get pulled away. That really diminishes esports. It happened in 2008, 2009, where the recession happened, the collapse of the markets, and then boom, esports kind of went away for a few years before they could get that money back into the system. For us, we see a recession as a chance to build a product for people to use that isn't there. So like for us, we're building it for the gamers out there, that so they have this home, so there is no loss of that. So that like there is this avenue, this place where their structure is still there in an online environment, which is actually pretty cool. Yeah, so that's how I see it. Do you want to add anything, Stolte?
Yeah, that's a great macroeconomics overview of where gaming could be. The overall state of gaming right now, Jeff referred to as super inflated, and it is held up by a lot of sponsor money. But on the other side of that, there's a lot of people playing games, and a lot of people who weren't playing games 2 years ago or more are now playing games and very much enjoy the games that they play.
So what's happening with these? I know there's a lot of influencers in the gaming industry who stream. They make, their income from streaming and things like that. So what's going on with that whole scene? Are they starting to look for different avenues of creating revenue for themselves? What's going on there?
Yeah, you are starting to see different avenues come in. Like, I think I read it the other day, American Eagle is now going to partner with Twitch, big Twitch streamers, and they'll be modeling their clothes and such.
Oh, interesting. Interesting connection there.
So it's getting more. It looks like it's getting more to the businesses, like kind of putting in money into like a technology like Twitch, because gaming is becoming more and more mainstream. And like with Cyberlete, we want users to be able to put in their money into their favorite streamer as well, not just get picked up by a big organization.
Right. And this sort of leads me into the next question. There's a lot of interesting things happening globally right now with macroeconomics. Inflation is really high. There's talks about a recession. There are some experts that are saying that this could last a few years. Um, how do you think this affects the gaming industry?
So like I was just saying, like in 2008, 2009, when that happened, like this a scenario of a recession, we can look back and look in the history, and what will happen is in esports, it will pull back the sponsor money. Their events won't be going on as much. At the same time, the gaming world is going to move on. So like game developers and people who play the games, they're still going to be playing games. They're still going to be developing games. The reality is there's not going to be as many events. There's not going to be as many leagues and events. Cyberlete has positioned themselves to be ready for everybody to come in and be able to compete in an online environment. So there will be events and tournaments and leagues for people at all avenues, which is pretty cool.
Good point. During 2009, it really hurt gaming. It was I was trying to do that previous website, the gaming website, during that time, and it was rough. And this is going to be rough again on some aspects, but during that time, gaming did grow overall. Coming out of it, and history kind of repeats itself in a way where, yeah.
So that's kind of interesting because leagues and tournaments and events like that, obviously there's going to be things are going to slow down, right? People are spending less money, especially on events, marketing, things like that. But on the flip side to that, since people are going to be spending less money going out, don't you think they're going to be at home looking for more entertainment? Meaning, so the retail or the gamers at home, we should see a spike in that activity, but less events, right?
Right. You're going to see more people online playing games. You're also going to see a spike in like cheating and such as well.
So more data will be collected through Cyberlete during this time. Um, yeah, I feel like, for example, like let's look at the last lockdown that we had during the pandemic. More people were at home. They were, Netflix, TikTok, social media, all of that stuff. Gaming, I feel like went parabolic during these times, right?
You're correct, and the stats do show that. Like the stats do show it, but it also shows like year-on-year growth. Like gaming in general has just grown dramatically over the last 20
Right.
years. So like, yeah, the pandemic had a change, but it probably didn't change in many gamers' life. Like the people who are gaming all day long, practicing and stuff. It might have and it like there it didn't change as much for them. Like for me, like I use gaming a lot, and I used it still as much as I did before. Is the point I'm making. So thinking about it in a hindsight, though, the events is what really were affected. You didn't have any events to go to. They are now starting to come back around. It's now saying to the casual player or the person who wants to go to these events, can you get there? When the recession is there, the sponsor money isn't sponsoring these players. So like the hindsight of it is like an Intel isn't giving the 5 people to go across the country to get to these events anymore. They don't have the money. They're sponsoring the event. They don't have the extra capital to do the players. So the players, teams, the organizations, stuff like that start hurting because a lot of the sponsor money leaves the scene, and
We're already
they're
seeing
left
that happen
stuck.
now, just the start of it, with sponsors who say they're going to pay for a team to go to an event, and now the time's come to go to the event, and they're not paying the teams that they promised. They paid half the teams to do it, but not the other half.
Yep. That's already happened in recent events. Like there's many stories of the competitions and events. Like they're just it in these times, in the coming times, this is when we need to have a place where we can count on it to be official and vetted, and that we can get everybody who's a part of the esports there and a part of it. So fan, including a tournament organizer, whatever it may be.
Right. And the difference between then and now is now we have things like play to earn, right? So if we look at the last lockdown, there was TikTokers and YouTubers who were just making millions from their content. And then things got pretty interesting in that section. But with gaming now that there's a lot of ways to earn, just as a gamer from home, you can play to earn, things like that. It changes things this time around, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Changes things now is giving people an opportunity uh, to make a little bit of money doing something that's not, you know, terribly hard and kind of fun at the same time.
Yeah, I wonder if there's any statistics out there that show how much a spike there was in gaming during periods like lockdowns and stuff. Um, so cheating and hacking is such a big problem in gaming. It created an entirely new business sector within the industry. Tell me your guys' thoughts on this.
Um, so my initial thought is I grew up in an era of competing in like esports, that it was frowned upon. So cheating was frowned upon. It was not something we encouraged. We loved the sport of it. We always considered esports to be a sport like baseball or football. And when somebody's cheating or using anything that's malicious to enhance their skills, it's not the true form of being a competitor or competing in anything. And that kind of like fake it to make it strategy, where some people really went into it. Um, they wanted to like they use cheating as that that stepping stone to get up into these leagues that they make themselves feel accomplished, especially in an online environment. So it's harder to do in a LAN event, but at the end of the day, it's more online. We're trying to help these at the same time, trying to help the online environment.
Yeah, cheating has gotten way out of hand, and it's getting more and more popular because you see the prices of the cheats come down. It
Hmm.
used to be like $200 to get you a prime cheat for a prime game to play in competitive leagues, and now it's come down to like $50 a month. Um, it's just real easy for someone that has, a few bucks to throw in and play a video game, and now they're not worried about losing. They're just having fun playing, ruining everyone else's experience. But, for them, probably a lot of fun.
There's other anti-cheat softwares available right now. There's no secret. They're out there. Why is cheating still happening?
It's a cat and mouse game. It's always going to happen. Cheating's always going to happen. There's always going to be cheating at casinos and other gambling, or even just any kind of competitive event. Um, right now, the main problem is the anti-cheat software, I believe, aren't taking full advantage of what it can be. Yeah, they're monitoring software and seeing what's going on in your computer, um, but there's ways to get around that pretty easy. Um, I think that's where these the high dollar cheats come in, because they can come in and get you at $200 a month because it's getting around the latest updated anti cheat.
Right. And so how do you guys position yourselves versus these other anti-cheat softwares?
So we look at anti cheat a little bit differently. We're um, we're monitoring the user as their in-game move with their in-game movements, um, and we're determining if they're human or not human. If they're human, are they human, and are they assisted in any way? Is there something assisting them? And we kind of break it down from there to determine if it's an aimbot assist in there, or maybe it's a ESP assist, or another type of assist. Through the data we collect by processing it through our AI cloud, we can determine this in a 2D model or even 3D. And it's really obvious when we do see someone cheating, when you're looking at the math, but it's in a image form.
It's really cool to look at it in that 2D, 3D environment too. So when like that, it's just really cool and obvious, like you were saying. Just added that.
No one is doing that
So
right
basically
now,
this,
basically because You can't. They don't. There's not enough server power. That would cost a lot of money to do on Web 2, and currently there's no one out there who could do the processing like that. This requires Web 3. This requires constellations, hypergraph. Other people try to do it and get burned down in the process because they're not doing their due diligence.
Yep. Constellation is like the helps us keep secure and sends the data. It helps.
100%.
So the reason why you guys are even able to take on this sort of project um, with this amount of data is because Constellation's hypergraph. And just to kind of recap, other anti-cheat software companies, they basically just detect other softwares. But you're saying that there are ways to get around that. And what you guys are doing different is you track the player's movements by collecting these 100 snippets of data per second, and being able to see the anomalies between human and non-human behavior.
Yes. Yep. We're able to determine that and a crap load of other statistics, such as your accuracy and your recoil pattern and things you can work on in games, such as your positioning and your headshot level, or other various things. We can get all these stats, and game companies are going to come at us wanting to know how to improve their games, and we're really going to be able to help lay a map out for them.
So these other anti-cheat softwares, if they're not looking at it from a Web3 perspective, like and utilizing things like the hypergraph, they're almost not scalable, right?
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. They're scalable in a Web 2, but once we go to the new world, like, what are they going to do?
Very interesting, guys. Um, are there any games in 2022 you guys are looking forward to?
I have 2 games. You can go first, Tilty.
I'd like to see the new Source engine come out sometime. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm. That would be really cool to see a new Source engine. So, hearing a lot of hype about these Unreal 5 games too. Like I've been Path of Exile 2 and Diablo 4, some Unreal 5 engine games that are coming out. I'm pretty hyped about those two.
Yeah, that engine's incredible. Those 3D graphics they printed out are very realistic.
Yeah, it's actually like a huge increase. Huge increase.
Yeah, and things are just going to get crazier. I can just imagine what things are going to look like in 5 years. um, awesome. So we're going to open the mic up for anyone. If you guys have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. We can call you guys up. Again, this is our way of answering questions to the community, explaining the technology leading up to the launch of the LEET token. So don't be shy. You can raise your hands. I think we got one request here. Let's see. I think it was HGTP Nico.
I went ahead and add him. I think I need to add you
Hey,
as
that was me.
co-host to do
You guys
that.
hear me?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, guys. So I wanted to talk about what happened during COVID. There's a lot of stats available. Gaming went through the roof for obvious reasons. Everyone was kind of hanging out at home. And a few things happened. Obviously, already dedicated gamers. We're probably one of the few groups that enjoy the lockdown. In fact, I was fantasizing that my younger self, if it had happened to my younger self, I would have I would have enjoyed it for as long as possible because it meant a free pass to game all day long. But my main point is it onboarded a whole group of people who weren't yet gaming, like a lot of dads and whatnot. People who before that didn't really get into it, but they literally bought computers, bought consoles, and it was a big contributor to a few interesting things. For one, the GPU shortage that we're still going through. Also, the fact that PS5s and the new Xboxes are still hard to get. and obviously, therefore, were really hard to get on launch. That was also in part due to the new onboarding of gamers, all of which happened because of the lockdown and COVID. Um, so it's interesting because even though money like kind of went away, and obviously like the corporations and professional organizations in gaming probably do less, overall there was like retail and consumers, the everyday layperson, it really onboarded a lot of new people. And who's to say? I'm sure some of them will leave it again when life goes back to normal, but gaming is gaming. It's a lot of fun, and I'm sure a lot of them will stay because they realize it's a pleasurable habit, and you're allowed to game when you're a professional and an adult too. So without digressing, that's kind of another point now. But I wanted to say that was really interesting as you guys were talking about it. Yeah, it was a really kind of a big negative and plus that happened to the industry with COVID because the pro scene kind of died out a little bit, but I think it allowed for a huge influx of also streamers. That was another one I hadn't mentioned yet. And
So Cyberlete is basically positioning themselves up for success if we do go into this recessionary
yeah,
period. I mean, you hear experts talking about it all the time that this could be like a 2-year
yeah.
thing. I'm not going to confirm that, saying that that's true, but that's what they're saying.
And
So
well, so one other thing, like I think it makes for a very interesting situation for Cyberly, as you're alluding to be positioned for. So there's going to be a lot more cheaters out there with this new influx of gamers, right? But there's also going to be a lot of new consumers who may or may not stay based upon the state of the integrity of the entire industry. For example, if cheating just gets really bad, well, a lot of these gamers will probably be like, why am I even fucking bothering? I'll play something by myself and that's about it. But a lot
right.
of the gaming industry, a lot of the gaming industry's monetary value is in the player versus player components. So it's a huge pivotal moment. Like there's a lot of people that stand to benefit or not from what the anti-cheat industry can do, and it's always a cat and mouse game with the malware and hackers and cheaters and people in the anti-cheat industry and the developers because it's just like hacking. It's a form of hacking, and so like they're always patching up patches to the patches and vice versa. And so it's never going to go anywhere. But that's why even more so, that as sophisticated as the enemy is, let's say, there's without a solution on Cyberlete's par and scale, meaning the fusion of blockchain and AI, which is something that I don't believe any other AC competitor is doing. Maybe like there's a couple blockchain ones, there's a couple AI ones, but no one's doing it on the level that Cyberlete is. And so, I'm really excited to see what they can do. It's like I don't know, it's like a stick of dynamite ready to explode in the whole gaming industry. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the coming years.
Yeah, so even if we do see a slowdown in events and tournaments and things like that, we could see a spike in user in gaming,
Right,
and so the industry as a whole might not even come down at all. It might actually go up,
right.
especially if people are at home more
It,
often.
but at the same time, we we want to keep it to like rewarding 40 hours a week, keeping it very structured environment to where we're not over promoting gaming, though we love gaming and we think it's the future and it's a new sport. We also want to make sure that people are taking care of themselves, their mental health.
Right.
Yeah,
Because they're going to be sitting at home more and gaming more means the field never leaves. The field is a button that you turn on and off, and most people can't walk away from it. It's a sport that you have to like.
you can get very addicted to it.
Well, it's not like a baseball game where you can walk off the field because you're done.
Yeah,
You could be done with the game, and an hour later you want to play again. You have to have self control. It's a lot of.
yeah,
So even if you guys restrict each gamer to only 40 hours a week for rewards, there still could be more users.
Oh yeah, there's
And
gonna
that,
be
yeah,
there's
there's
gonna
gonna be a
be
lot more
a
users.
lot of users. It's gonna be an influx through, and that's
Yeah.
just that's fine. We want to build the home for them. That's what we're trying to do for everybody.
And this is going to be even better for the AI. More data, the smarter it gets.
Yeah, totally. As much data as we can get is going to make our AI grow and grow as far as we want it to go. Um, and since it is such a cat and mouse type of battle, um, we're always going to need to grow. I'd also like to bring up, onboarding these new potential gamers that are coming in. I'd like for them to come in through a application like Cyberlete so they can experience a safe atmosphere of gaming, um, and not so much of the toxic atmosphere that you can typically run into right now. People who work 40 plus hours a week don't have much time to sit down and play, but maybe a couple hours of video games a week, if that. And they don't want to be playing against cheaters. They want to play against, non-cheaters and have a fun time.
So kind of piggybacking
What?
off of the
One
last.
second. Constellation is requesting to speak here.
Oh,
Hi,
good morning.
Constellation. Good morning.
Good morning, y'all.
Morning.
This is Altif from Constellation.
Hi.
Hi. I actually didn't want to speak, but I did want to be on the speaker list so our followers can see the space going on. So carry on, boys.
Heard. Cool.
Welcome. So going back into the influx of gamers that we might see during this possible recessionary period, you guys are also going to be on-ramping, what was it, 10,000 gamers to start beta testing? Can you guys go into that a little bit?
Yeah, we want to bring on, about 10,000 people to help us finish up the website and finish up our application, to kind of train the AI, and really get things going. And from that point, it'll probably still be like an invite process, and we plan on slowly kind of growing up to like 100,000 from the 10,000 point. So each one of these users in the 10,000, they'll obviously have some type of reward for being in the first 10,000. And also each user basically they get a certain amount of invites, and they can invite their friends to join Cyberlete after that point. But we want to keep it kind of exclusive for a little bit as we really fine tune the AI and the application, because the big problem in the gaming industry is people want to push their product out way too fast, and they promise a lot and under deliver. We're not trying to follow that trend there at all.
Yeah, we're trying to come out doing it the complete opposite, where we're going to under promise and over deliver. And the reality is we understand in the gaming industry now that there's a lot of things that come out in alpha and pre-alpha and beta, and the games are broken, it crashes, it burns computers, it does all this stuff, and we're going to stop all that. We're going to try to do it different, make it better.
Is Fortnite still in beta?
It is still in beta.
See what I'm saying?
Hey, and by the way, it's more true than it's hard to establish the point that, like, okay, you guys know how a lot of the protocols and networks projects in crypto seem to be pushed out with a lot of promises, and they're over promising and under delivering, and or at least pushing things out too soon. Well, it's not just in crypto. It's been in gaming for a long time, and it's like the quality of things has just gone down slowly, and it's definitely an interesting point there that they're making. But I actually, to change the topic a little bit, I've been actually really curious about this. I haven't heard it brought up at all. The focus is seems to be very much on first person shooters, and I know that's where a large amount of the cheating happens. But as an MMO player, MMORPG, like for anyone who doesn't know what that is, think like World of Warcraft, etc. There's a lot of massive problem with bots, aka people who have an AI or a program play for their character perpetually while they're not even there, getting them in-game currency and experience and playing the game for them entirely. And so it's like an entirely different form of cheating than what we see with first-person shooters. And it is at least as big of a problem. I mean, it literally kills games, you know, and not there's not one that doesn't have it going on. Do you guys feel that Cyberlete could be a good solution for that sector of the gaming industry as well?
Yes. We 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 can be applied to virtually every game and application where automation is a threat to the system integrity. So games
Right.
like Diablo 2, we can help.
Speaking of Diablo 2, we already have a product for Diablo 2.
Cool.
A lot of people use map hacks or have bots that run through the game and play the quest for them. Same thing with other MMORPG type of games and dungeon crawlers. So we have actually built AI already for Diablo 2, and this same AI will work for League of Legends type of games and
It,
uh,
it
other similar
seems
styles.
your guys' product seems perfect for catching bots and whatnot. You know, it yeah. I think. I was curious if you guys have. So obviously you made a product for Diablo. Are you guys like having plans to push out into that? Like obviously FPSs are your first target, and that makes a lot of sense. Are there business plans to push out into other sectors like MMOs?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
FPS is huge, but
Yeah.
we've already taken care of games like Diablo 2, and it's more of the genre we're looking at to take care of each genre.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, and that just it expands things out even further. Obviously, you know, I mean, like um sorry, like Jeff paraphrased it, if it can catch anything that is an anomaly towards the system, I guess, right? So
So that includes metaverses too.
Yes, it does include the metaverses.
awesome.
Very interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, like, literally, just to rephrase that, virtually every game and application where automation is a threat to system integrity, we can be put into.
It should be able to catch bots so easily, probably even more easily than than the cheats in a lot of FPS games.
I feel
Because
like you're leaking a little bit of alpha there.
uh,
He's hinting at some stuff.
well, yeah. Anyway, I'm excited to see what it can do with the MMO scene. I'll leave it at that. From what I know, I'm excited to see things. Thank you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you guys.
and I can kind of point out a little bit about how our AI actually reads data. If you were to look at like the constellation logo, the shape of it. So each one of those dots is a question, and the shape itself is human. Now, when one of those dots gets stretched out, and now it's no longer that shape, we know that's a anomaly, and we look into that anomaly, and then from there, either way, whichever way the dot's been pushed, there'll be a set of questions, and the further it gets away, the more questions to ask, because the whole goal is to get the shape back to square. Hope that makes
And
sense.
how quickly can the AI detect these anomalies?
Pretty quick, real time. So our goal is real time as we can.
So
Okay.
maybe this Wednesday, I'll bring up some sheets on Discord when we do the call on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And I'll bring out some visuals that might help.
I think that's a really good idea.
Perfect. Anybody else have any questions? All right. Well, if you guys don't want to add anything else, for those of you guys that joined the space a little bit late, we do have this recording, and then we'll go ahead and put it up on YouTube as well. So you'll be able to watch the full interview. Jeff Stolte, thank you so much for hosting this space. And we're going to be going live every single Monday. So we look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Ciao, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.